Brain is the most important organ in the human body. It controls your movements, thinking, feeling, breathing, and heartbeat. Brain also makes the nervous system together with spinal cord. It also weighs about 1.3 to 1.4 kilograms or about 3 pounds. It contains around 86 billion neurons and it can be divided into 5 parts. First is the cerebrum or the forebrain. Second is the cerebellum or the hindbrain. Third is the brainstem. Fourth is the limbic system or the emotional and memory core. And 5 is diencephalon. First, cerebrum or the forebrain is the largest part of the human brain. It controls higher level functions including voluntary muscle movements, sensory processing, reasoning, memory and speech. It is divided into two hemispheres, right hemisphere, which manages spatial abilities, creativity and the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere, which manages logic, language and the right side of the body. And in the middle connecting them is corpus callus, a bundle of nerve fibers that connects the two hemispheres and allows them to communicate. Its main function is connecting different areas of the brain and allowing them to function normally. Each hemisphere contains 4 main lobes that regulate specific tasks such as vision, hearing, and behavior. First is frontal lobe, which manages decision making, planning, personality, and voluntary muscle movements. Second is parietal lobe, which processes sensory information like touch, temperature, and pain, as well as spatial awareness. Third is temporal lobe, which is essential for processing auditory information such as hearing, language interpretation, and memory storage. And fourth is occipital lobe, which is responsible for receiving and interpreting visual information. Inside the brain, there are structures that are also a part of cerebrum. Those are basal ganglia, group of structures that help regulate voluntary motor control and routine behaviors. Hippocampus, crucial for forming and storing long-term memories. And lastly, olfactory bulb, which is responsible for the sense of smell. Second is cerebellum or the hindbrain, often called the little brain. It is a major structure located at the base of the skull behind the brainstem. It is responsible for coordinating movement, maintaining balance, and motor learning. It is divided into 2 halves or hemispheres and is connected by a central area called the vermis. It features a folded outer cortex with an inner tree-like white matter pattern known as the arbor vitae. It has more than 50% of all the neurons and is responsible for balance and posture, fine motor control, motor learning, and cognitive roles such as assisting with attention, language processing, and mood regulation. There are also issues that can arise if the cerebellum isn't working as intended. Those issues are ataxia, loss of full control of body movements, leading to clumsy steps, tremors, shaking or trembling of muscles during active movement, dizziness, which is a trouble with spatial perception or balance that can bring on vertigo, speech issues, which is slurred or slowed speech patterns caused by weak muscle coordination. Third is the brainstem, which is the lower stalk-like part of the brain that connects the cerebrum to the spinal cord, consisting of the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. It acts as body's autopilot, managing essential survival tasks and relaying signals between the body and the rest of the brain. Main parts of the brainstem are midbrain, which controls eye movements and processes audio and visual reflex cues, pons, which is like a bridge which connects the brain and the cerebellum, helping regulate sleep, breathing, and facial movements. And last is medulla oblongata, which manages core life functions like heartbeat, blood pressure, and breathing, plus reflexes like coughing and swallowing. Main functions of the brainstem are carrying all sensory and motor signals back and forth between the body and the higher brain, an automatic control which keeps automatic processes running smoothly without any conscious effort. And they also have cranial nerves, which house the control points for 10 of the 12 cranial nerves that control face, head, and organ sensations and movement. Fourth, the limbic system or the emotional and memory core is a group of connected brain structures that manage emotions, memory, and basic drives. It is located deep inside the brain, sitting right under the cerebral cortex and above the brainstem. Its main role is connecting what you feel with how your body reacts physically, such as triggering your fight or flight response. It is made up of amygdala, which processes feelings like fear, anger, and pleasure and helps spot danger, hippocampus, which turns short-term memories into long-term memories, hypothalamus, which controls hunger, thirst, sleep, body temperature, and stress hormones, and cingulate gyrus, which links behavior to outcomes and helps regulate mood. And lastly, we have the diencephalon, which is a core region of the brain located deep inside between the cerebrum and the brainstem. It surrounds a fluid-filled space called the third ventris and links the nervous system to the hormone-making endocrine system. It is made up of thalamus, which acts as a main relay center. It also takes in sensory and motor messages and sends them to the correct parts of the cerebral cortex, while also helping control sleep and alertness. Hypothalamus, which controls body balance or homeostasis. It regulates body temperature, hunger, thirst, sleep cycles, and controls the nearby pituitary gland to manage body hormones. Next is epithalamus, which connects the limbic system to other brain regions. It includes the pineal gland, which makes melatonin to help control sleep rhythms. And lastly, subthalamus, which works with other brain structures to help control smooth body movements. Lastly, let's look at some fun facts about the brain. First, around 60% of the human brain is made up of fat, making it the fattest organ in the human body, and all this fat also needs food to run smoothly and efficiently. That's why it's good to consume brain-boosting foods like walnuts, fish, blueberries, and eggs. Next, your brain isn't fully formed until age 25. Brain development begins from the back of the brain and works its way to the front. As a result, your frontal lobes, which control planning and reasoning, are the last to strengthen and structure connections. Next, brain information can travel up to an impressive 350 miles per hour. When a neuron is stimulated, it generates an electrical impulse that travels from cell to cell. Next, it's actually a myth that you only use about 10% of your brain. You actually use all of it, even when you are sleeping. Neurologists confirm that your brain is always active. And lastly, your brain runs on about 20 watts of power, which is enough to power a light bulb, and all that power also needs enough rest to function properly. Adequate sleep helps maintain the pathways in your brain. Additionally, research shows that sleep deprivation is linked to Alzheimer's disease. It is a disease that only gets worse and worse, and it damages nerve cells, causing memory loss, confusion, and behavioral changes. There also isn't any cure, but there are treatments that can help manage the symptoms. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and comment some of your ideas for a future video. Bye!